One cannot have both. In order to experience love, you must be willing to give up hatred. In order to achieve vengeance, then you must be willing to walk away from love. Which one would you choose? Choosing vengeance is easy. However, choosing to let go and let love win is hard. But at the end of the day, it is going to be 100% worth it. When it comes to the story of Berserk, as I am reading it, one factor so far that I have realized is this, and that is I don't have a favorite moment. I don't have a favorite arc when it comes to this wonderful masterpiece of a manga. Now, at first, I thought that the infamous Golden Age arc was going to be my favorite. Seeing Guts' life, seeing him form these bonds, and finding love is such a heartfelt moment, only for him to lose it all during the infamous eclipse. Next, I thought that, hey, maybe the convention arc was going to be my favorite, with us getting a glimpse of the mental state of childhood abuse, religious zealots, and of course the return of a certain figure. Now on chapter 240, which, if I remember correctly, and of course if I am wrong, then just let me know in the comments. But so far, I think that the Millennium Falcon might just be my top arc. With the introduction of the fantasy elements that I have been waiting for ever since the introduction of Puck and the Black Swordsman arc. Yet I have a feeling that once again my new favorite arc is going to change, and one of the reasons why my mind keeps changing is because of Guts. Berserk is perhaps a story about character development, choosing a path between maintaining one's humanity or letting go of that and becoming a monster. After the eclipse, we see Guts beyond repair, losing his family and the woman that he fell in love with, no longer sane, no longer her old self, being betrayed by Griffith, someone who maybe Guts saw as a best friend, or this maybe perhaps as a brother figure. Griffith provided Guts with what our beloved Black Swordsman longed for the most: a family and a place where he finally belonged. That is until the eclipse happened. Wondering why this moment had to take place, wondering was there anything he could do to stop it, and this being absorbed by just the amount of gore and chaos all around him. And more importantly, why did this have to happen? After the eclipse, Guts begins to fall down a more darker path, becoming a weapon of vengeance and hatred, and thus Guts loses his humanity, and him losing that element of him is when I feel that our main protagonist is at his weakest. If Guts is able to kill Griffith, now known as Femto, yeah, sure, he won the fight, okay? He was able to achieve his vengeance, but at the end of the day, he still loses the war. Because now Guts is no longer surrounded by loved ones like his newly acquired companions in Casca. He is no longer human, but rather a monster who has dwelled farther and farther into the abyss. Okay, so what makes Guts such a top tier protagonist is the fact that, to me, he is a monster with an innocent soul. So when you take away that crucial aspect of Guts, and when you just make him your typical vengeance dressed in black and just killing everything with a huge giant sword, that is not what makes Guts so great, okay? That will be cliche and boring, and at the end of the day, if Guts was like that, then I for one would not have him as my top protagonist of all time, at least in manga, okay? At least in the manga realm. So remember, Guts is at his weakest when he is not surrounded by loved ones. Guts is at his weakest when he gives in into the abyss, when he gives in and into hatred. Now, let's talk about Guts at his best moment, because remember, you cannot have both vengeance and love. Part 2. The Hound and the Black Witch. Casca. Casca and Guts at first were not on friendly terms, with Casca of course being jealous of the attachment that Griffith held to Guts, and I mean, how could she not? Here comes in this total stranger who just comes in and is somehow able to attract her Griffith. But of course, over their time together in the Golden Age arc, they slowly become one of my personal favorite couples, and to this day, us being able to see Guts finally show his more human side to Casca doing that wonderful waterfall panel. When I first read it, it brought a tear to my eye, because here we have a man whose innocence was stolen from him, and to him finally finding someone to love and who loves him back. It's quite a tear jerker. Okay, so Guts finally finding someone to give that peace to himself, and he's able to do it freely, is such a beautiful moment. This is why waterfall scene will just always be one of my favorite panels in all of Berserk. This seeing Guts being able to like this show this more physical element to himself, that right there is one of the reasons why these two will always be one of my favorite couples of manga so far. Not my top favorite, but is one of the romantic couples that I would have like on my top 10 list. So when his dearly beloved is torn apart, her innocence now gone beyond repair, of course anyone in Guts' shoes would choose to walk the path of vengeance. But you are forgetting one important key element, and that is when you happen to choose vengeance, when you give up your humanity, you are becoming weaker in the long run. As I said before, yeah, you won the fight, but the war has been lost. But let's say that instead you choose love. like Guts, despite your anger, you realize that your love for this person outweighs the hatred that you might have for someone else. And in my personal opinion, Guts becomes stronger when he chose to find a cure for Casca, when he slowly lets others in his heart. Because while Guts is a complete badass stringing his sword, I find him the strongest and the most badassness when he is choosing to fight for those he cares for. Choosing Casca means that Guts is able to maintain his humanity. That part of Guts that I love the most about his character. The power of friendship, despite it being a complete shonen cliche, is in a way the black swordsman's biggest strength, because he needs bonds and he needs emotional connections to help him keep moving forward. He legitimately needs the power of friendship to become stronger, because when Guts is all alone, that's it. He becomes this rageful black hound monster of the abyss. But when Guts is able to open up his heart into others, and when Guts is able to fall in love, that is when the true personality of Guts comes out. And it is not that of a monster, but at the same time, it is that of a man who had to become a monster so he can help protect those that he loves. So in other words, when Guts is by himself, then he is at his weakest. When he forgoes his human element, that is when he is at his weakest. But when Guts is fighting for those that he cares about, when we get to see Guts' true personality, that is when Guts is the best protagonist ever. In manga, okay? In manga. I have like other protagonists that I will like also put in my number one element, but in manga, seeing Guts let go of trying to choose vengeance, of trying to kill Femto, and him on like a one-man killing 100-man killing demons, or like this whatever enemy he is fighting. Yeah, that is all this badass and dandy, but Guts fighting to protect Casca and the others, and Guts just being like this pillar that people just look up to, like Farnese and of course Ichiro. That is when Guts becomes the best character, when he is remaining human. So like I said, in a way, the power of friendship is basically Guts' biggest strength. Because remember, you cannot have both. You cannot have both vengeance and love. You have to be willing to get rid of one or the other. And choosing vengeance is easy. Anyone can do that. However, choosing love, yes, at the end of the day, it's going to be hard. But at the same time, you won, okay? You won the war. Now, please bear in mind that I am not done with this wonderful masterpiece yet. I still have 100+ chapters to go. I kind of feel sad about, but at the same time, I can't wait to see more of this epic journey. because Berserk so far has been such a complete, entertaining blast to read. And I think I know why. Because at the end of the day, I am never going to have a favorite arc, because each time that I think that a arc is going to be my complete favorite, it completely changes. And then I realize all of Berserk is my favorite. From the Black Swordsman arc, to the Golden Age arc, to the Convention arc, to so on and so on and so on. Because what I like reading is seeing our favorite Black Swordsman and his character development. Seeing him maintain his humanity. That is the best arc of Berserk. The end. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning into my first video. I had a lot of fun just thinking about Guts, who is my personal top manga protagonist of all time. So, if you happen to be on this little journey, then one, I want to thank you for joining me at the campfire. But more importantly, I want to ask you, one, what is your favorite manga arc of all time? And two, who is your favorite protagonist? It can be from manga, it can be from anime, it can be from comics, it can be from books. Just let me know who your favorite protagonist is. And let me know in the comments. I think it will just be kind of fun, just kind of getting a conversation together. But this is the Melancholic Otaku, and welcome to the place where we talk about manga and life. And I hope you would personally join me on this epic journey. I hope you guys are having a wonderful night, evening, afternoon, wherever you guys may be at. See ya.